the live stream. Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing today? Another fantastic day. Today is June 23rd, one day after the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. So you get the most sunshine out the day. You know, sun comes up at 6 a.m. and then it goes down at 9 p.m. And that's the good news. It's the longest day of the year. The bad news is it's getting shorter. The days are getting shorter all the way up to December. So if you're at a beach or if you're somewhere warm today or yesterday, you should go out and enjoy it because you had the longest amount of sunshine. If you had rain yesterday, you didn't get any of that. You just got wet all day, the longest wet day of the year. So anyway, I want to welcome everybody to StarWalker Industries Investor CEO Talk. There's no specific agenda today. This is really a time for you guys to ask questions, fire away in the chat, comment about your investment process, comment about bottled water, comment about positivity, our lovely brand, which for those of you who have invested and been registered through WeFunder, I'll talk about that. You should have received investor perks this week, including either an offer to buy one, get one free of our positivity brand or your actual case in the mail. There's a little bit of delay between what WeFunder provides us and who actually put in information into WeFunder. So sometimes the number of investors doesn't flow down to us as much as I would like it to. But for the most part, we have tried to do our best to fulfill our obligations with the perks. So we'll get through that as well. Again, this is the StarWalker Industries investor meeting. This is the time where you can just ask questions, shoot over text or chat, and ask us any specifics about the investment opportunity. Okay, so it wouldn't be appropriate if I didn't acknowledge the wonderful team we have here. Shar Ross, as you guys have seen before, kind of helps me manage these videos and this process in our marketing. She's on the line. We have a couple of internal people. Dwayne Hatmill, he's logistics, A to B. He's the one that helped get those cases out to all of you and make sure that our pipeline of product is flowing. And then Ashley Farley's on the line. She's the executive assistant. She's a much bigger role. Every executive assistant we've had here has expanded into some greater role because they have excellent skill sets. And I don't think there's anything different here with Ashley. Ryan Thomas, if you haven't had a chance to talk to him, he's the one who handles a lot of the investor calls. So if you've had any sort of issues with WeFunder or trying to verify your investment, you can talk to Ryan, and he's been available for you guys. So yeah, that's the team. There's other people involved at higher levels. They cost too much money to be on this Zoom, so we want to leave them where they are, minimize the cost. So, and then I'm your fearless leader, Dave Walker. So I have a few topics that I want to touch on in general today. I'll give you some general information about what's happening with StarWalker and the investment itself. Then we'll talk about what's happening with positivity. We'll talk about what's happening with integrity. And lastly, we'll talk about some of the initiatives with the plant and where that's moving to right now. So first, I like to do Inside Out. With me personally, I just got back from Palo Alto, California. My oldest daughter is at Stanford. This is her second year there, her first year on campus last year because of COVID. So that was a fantastic experience. If you've never been out there, you should go. San Francisco is a fantastic city. It's always something that I've seen on TV, San Francisco. I've never really been there, but man, is it picturesque. It's a lot of views, a lot of beautiful scenery, and Palo Alto is just fantastic. And she's blessed, and I'm blessed to have her as my daughter. So I'm feeling in a good mood. I'm back now, back in Atlanta, ready to get it going this summer. Lots of water moving. A lot of people are thirsty right now, so a lot of water is happening. But let's talk about why some of you are on here. This is an investor call. I'm trying to connect with investors. We'll do these calls once a month, once a quarter, maybe, depends on the timing. I don't mind doing them. I don't have a script because I love doing this job, so I always have the information ready. But in terms of WeFunder, which is how most of us might know each other or are getting to know each other, WeFunder has begun the process of transferring investor information to me directly. So before we hit our minimum of 100,000, WeFunder pretty much kept all investor details to themselves. Once we hit 100,000, they sent over to us an official investor list and their money. And they said, these are the people who we have confirmed to be investors, and this is the list. That is the list we sent our perks to. Now, the people who come on that list are not all of the people that are in WeFunder. So WeFunder also said, well, I said, well, where are the rest of these people? I think we maybe had 330 people, but we got 600 investors now. They said the rest of the people are caught into like an administrative purgatory, meaning that there's something that they haven't done yet to make their investment final. What are some of those things? Some people have put the money into your WeFunder account, but have not actually selected StarWalker as your investment and clicked all the appropriate acknowledgements. So some of you have moved it over to StarWalker, but you haven't finished your investment because you haven't hit all of the acknowledgements you have to hit and then hit submit investments. Some of those acknowledgements are your investor documents. So again, Ryan's here to help transition some of those people. The first 100,000 essentially received their perks based upon what they put in and if their whole process was completed. So if you did not get your perk and you qualified for a perk and you did not get it, that means that somewhere in WeFunder, you still have work to do. So at some point, WeFunder will also give us another list of when the next list of investors. So between the 330 and say 600, I won't get the next one until the next event occurs. When will the next event occurs? One, we close the round, or two, $500,000. So if we hit $500,000, they'll give us the next tranche of information of the investors that's from 100 to 500 and say, hey, here's that list. And then we'll be able to issue perks for those people as well. Or if we close the round, how will we close the round? I don't know, just decide, sick of WeFunder, closing it all down. And we're gonna go invest money somewhere else. And the people who are in. I'm not planning to do that anytime soon. So I think the next threshold I would like to be is the 500, and I'll get the next list of investors. So if you haven't received your perk yet and you put your money in, again, it's just a matter of timing and when it's going to come in. Still feel free to order Positivity on your own. You are an investor. You will ultimately have your investment counted. It's just about when your perk will be triggered. But hopefully anybody who has received their perk, if you want to leave a message in the chat about the process and what you thought about it and what you thought about the water, if you hadn't had it before, you just kind of went out on faith and invested in the StarWalker. We'd like to hear your feedback. Of course, leave us reviews on Google and you like us on Instagram. That helps our company. I'm just the lead investor here, right? It's all of our businesses now if you're an investor. So that's good. Last night, I actually participated in a program called the 10K Project. It's actually a group of Black investors who like to invest solely in the crowd equity space. And they came on and they interviewed me last night for about an hour and a half, and it was super fun. These were all people who were asking questions from BPA and plastic all the way up to, what's the differences between purified and alkaline. Very informed group. Very interested in our project and what we're doing here in Atlanta. But there's a lot of little groups out here that I've been on a little bit of a tour, a pitch deck tour, where you kind of go out and talk to people about, not just about StarWalker and what we're doing, but how crowd equity is working so far, some of the hiccups that comes with it from the investor side, from the company side. But these people have all been responsive. That's why we're starting to see a little bit of more uptick into our investment amount. Also, too, because we are now much more official than we were when we first launched in terms of the Form C is filed, and now WeFunders ironed out all their kinks. The people who are coming in to invest now have a much more formal process than just reserving an investment. So a part of this as the CEO of this company is I have to reserve time to go out and tell people about our investment. It's not obvious. They do have ad campaigns. So a lot of people who run these investment campaigns will run an ad campaign through Instagram and Facebook, and we're no different. We're just looking for the right partner to do that with. But right now, we've been using most of our fundraising has been through organic, and I like it. I'm having fun with it. And if we can save ourselves money by not having to run ads, then we should do it. And how do we doing that organically? DJ Envy, which is one of our largest assets, he's put out a video to promote on his channel, and that video is still getting views, and it's on our YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it, you can go to invest.starwalkerindustries.com and see the past videos, and you can see the NV video that he put out. So that's working. We have other organic things coming. I have a major player from the Ricky Smiley Morning Show who will be joining us soon. So like DJ Envy, that's going to give us a new audience, a new boost, a new chance to tell our story. And we should expect that around the 4th of July. So in terms of the advertising space, when it comes to these equity crowdfundings, I believe it's real. I do believe it matters. But there's a couple of things that we have to be careful of as our company moves into that category and spends money on, you're spending money now on people who are going to invest in your company. You're not spending money on products that you're selling. So you have to be careful about that spend, because the investment money is not revenue money. That's money you have to pay back. So now you're paying ads on money that comes in that you have to pay back and or earn money for later. So you don't want to go too crazy. Some people get so obsessed with bringing in investors, they forget that your job is to sell water, your job is to sell whatever. I do like to continue to spend ads on selling water. That actually works a lot better. But if we can get organic growth for our fundraise, the longer the better, we should. And how do you do that? Empowering our current investors, finding these good partnerships that have really into the project, really into what we're doing, and have them organically tell their story and push people to our page. That's been working so far without any advertising dollars. And I like to push it that way. Someone I think left a comment on one of ours going, well, what aren't you upset? And there's a reason why your fundraising is going terribly slow. This fundraiser is not going terribly slow. It's going exactly how Dave Walker operates, piece by piece. How do you eat an elephant? One spoonful at a time. I'm in this for the long run. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not trying to break the fundraising record. I'm looking to educate and include, okay? And just get people involved, ask questions, and move along the way. I'm not rushing. And as we hit certain milestones, I start to allocate money towards other things, right? Our inside is our staff, right? We still need a financial person. We still need a salesperson. Unbelievably, we got all this sales with not one in-house salesperson. We got a lot of brokers out there, but we need a salesperson is our next major milestone. And then obviously a financial person kind of do some of the controlling work. I work with the CFO and the bookkeeper, but we need like a person inside, just day-to-day invoicing and things of that nature. So we'll be posting some job descriptions likely over the next, couple weeks as we transition here post-holiday. As you know, this is not a great labor market. People just got money in their pockets. They ain't trying to come to work yet. So there's all kind of great jobs out there, and it's hard pickings. But you just got to find people who are dedicated to the cause. We don't have any expectation here at StarWalker that these are going to be career positions. I think that anybody who goes in and tries to sell people that you're going to be here your whole life is probably not being honest with themselves and the way the humans move nowadays on the planet. Instead, you're looking for a good solid year. You're basically asking people who you hire, give me a good year, give me a good 2 years. And if you keep that as a reasonable expectation, you actually have a pretty good chance. I think there's stories out there about how that's built into Amazon's model. They just believe that people only have a certain amount of energy for a job, and they actually encourage you to leave after a year or two. And if you see they have one of the highest turnover rates in the country, and they like it that way. And so I'm not suggesting that that's our model. It's not, but it's just the reality of how people think nowadays. They get tired, bored, they want to do something else. And then people who come in, they have energy and they want to do something good. So we'll be looking to do that for StarWalker. We actually have done some social media with StarWalker, unbelievably, because we've always been B2B. We've had very little interaction on the social media game, but now we have a Facebook page and a LinkedIn page and posting information and content on there all the time. So we're growing our brand from a corporate perspective. Even though we are B2B and most of the people who know us are in a distribution game, we just think it's important to grow that. So we're always looking for ideas. So follow StarWalker Industries in all social media platforms. Just look us up. Okay, positivity, which is our #1 product, right? I mean, at the end of the day, our revenues and sales is generated from positivity and our bottled water sales. The plant is long-term. That's going to come. We'll generate money from selling our water that we bottle. But for right now, and for the way we live and eat, we live and eat off of positivity and integrity. And that's really what our first phase of our investment strategy should stay focused on. So that's what I'm going to focus on now. So 500 City Trend stores, we talked about that a little bit before. I got some more details. They're actually going to do a couple things with us. They're not only going to allow us to have a stand in each of the 500 stores that will be filled up with positivity over the next 30 days. They're also going to allow us to use a QR code on the stand that gives the people at the store an insight to the owner of the company. And that QR code will send them through the StarWalker universe of all the things that we're doing. So now they want more connection between these Black-owned companies and their customers. They're no longer just saying, look, Black-owned, buy the bottle. They want you to say, no, look, Black-owned, and here's the person, and here's what they care about, and here's what they're doing. And so there's a new level of consciousness that's happening in the purchasing public, and they want to know, it's not just, hey, Black's not enough, but what is he doing with the money? You know, what does he stand for? What is the he or she objectives in life? So City Trends is all for that. They're actually running a nonprofit program called City Cares in partnership with Save First Shaw, which is one of the largest law firms out there. And their law firm and City Trends are putting together a series of online courses for entrepreneurs who applied for their $5,000 scholarship. City Trends had a $5,000 scholarship they were offering and ended up getting 7,000 applications. So they decided that they were going to partner with a law firm and launch a series of talking events to show, these investors and all these other people how to sort of do business with City Trends. And me and another supplier are going to anchor the conversation in August. So August 11th, I'll be featured with City Trends on kind of how to do business with them. And I can tell you how you do business with City Trends is have a whole lot of patience. A whole lot of patience. don't rush anybody. Don't rush anybody. Be prepared that if somebody tells you 2 weeks, write it down as a month. Call it a day, and don't ask questions. Don't rush them. That's my insight to what I'm going to talk about. I don't know if City Trends know I'm going to talk about that, but I'm going to talk about that. It's just real. It's just real. So we talked about DJ Envy, talked about his energy that he brings. He's done a fantastic job. One of the things that we quickly realized with DJ Envy is that his base is New York, and people want to know where to get the water in New York. We had a gap. He was sending people to Amazon and to our website, which you still can do. But water really isn't bought like that unless you're intentional and purposeful. You just pick up water where you see it. So it's important to put it into the lane where people see it, and that's New York City. We have a distributor there. We should be receiving a truckload or two in the next day or so, maybe even a week, given the ups and downs of holiday traffic. But it will have distribution in New York of positivity and integrity brands. So this distributor has agreed to take it on, put it in some stores, and then we have some salespeople through a broker that's going to have a street team in Times Square, et cetera. Some cases selling the water, some cases handing it out. But if you live in New York and if you're somewhere in New York City, if you start seeing positivity, take a picture, tag us on Instagram because it's coming to your city. We also send some water to North Carolina, some to Texas, and also working on Florida. So we're continuing to expand our positivity truckload distribution routes. That's ultimately, what makes us the best margins. This is the best tasting water. It makes people think positive and all those other characteristics. And so that's actually moving very well. I think in general, when we think about positivity, I think that the national truckload approach is the way to go. We do, however, have local distribution. We always love our local pickups. So we have people who order and come pick up cases locally. We have people who deliver locally. We still love that. It's great for us to have. It's great customer service. In terms of a sustainable business model that makes enough money to sustain you long-term, it still has to be truckloads. So yes, you can get a lot of sales online or 5 or 6 cases a day. And that's good that you have people come pick up, a couple of cases or 10 cases every now and then. But unless you're moving pallets, and I'm talking about 10 plus pallets, that's the kind of customer that StarWalker really goes for. So we are improving our customer service on the case level, but it's a kind of allocation of resources. If most of your resources are designed for truckloads, you don't really want them spending a lot of time on retail. So it's a balance. But for the most part, we are continually focused on truckload orders. We do have some big marketing events coming up with Positivity. If you're in Pittsburgh, we're going to be sponsoring the Pittsburgh Grand Prix, where all of their workers and volunteers will be drinking Positivity water, and then we'll have kiosks throughout the course to sell water. If you guys are not familiar with the Pittsburgh Grand Prix, essentially it's almost like a golf course size area in which these cars, vintage cars, park, and then they have a little racetrack that goes between it, and these people in their old cars race. Don't ask me how the qualifications of the racing, but apparently you just come in and race your car. And this has been going on for a while. It's a big event. Obviously, because of COVID, they did not have it last year. They're expecting a big turnout. And I believe the dates on that is in the middle. There's 2 weekends. One's a smaller version, and then there's the big one. What was that?
Yeah, the dates for Sisters by Choice, you're saying, or for
No, Pittsburgh Grand Prix.
That's all. That is going to be all of the month of July, from July 11th all the way through, I think, the 24th or 25th. But I'll go ahead and post it in the chat room so people will have that information.
Yeah, you can also look it up too. Then we're also doing events with the Dallas Athletic Club, Dallas Athletic Racers. It's a racing organization of runners. They do a series of events in Dallas, and we're going to host those events and provide water at the finish line, and then have a team there. So in both those cities, though, we have retailers and distributors now. So when people run the race, it's not just like, oh, I had this water. Okay, you can buy it now down the street. So that's really the key, is you see that we have to match our marketing with our distribution. You got to have people in the cities in which you're doing these events that actually sell the water if you're going to be effective. Shar mentioned we have our Sisters by Choice. It is a ribbon walk run by Sisters by Choice. Is a nonprofit that is focused in on obviously surviving breast, not obviously, but breast cancer awareness. And also they have a mobile breast cancer testing unit. So I've been supporting them for a long time. We support their offices with water and Positivity, and or mostly Integrity, though, probably sponsor the walk run. So speaking of integrity, if you are a nonprofit or know someone who has a nonprofit that is hosting an outdoor event in Atlanta, they better not be thirsty, because if they are, it's their fault. We are donating cases of our Integrity purified water to nonprofits who are having outdoor events. So the reason why is we want people to get up and out, and we want them to drink our water, but we're also offering the same nonprofits 5 cents for every bottle they bring back. So not only are we going to donate the water, we're going to pay you 5 cents for every single bottle you bring back, because we don't want our bottles sprinkled all over Piedmont Park or somewhere else. So we're trying to encourage and use our current closed loop system in our normal water donation distribution, because we want to get those bottles back, and we want to cut down on our environmental impact. And since we're donating the water, I think it's only fair that we collect the bottles back. So again, if you guys have a nonprofit that is hosting an outdoor event, a festival, a summer league, a kids camp, anybody who's doing outside and sweating and want water, and you should be looking at their water, go, you had to pay for that? And they go, yeah, you should have told me. I had StarWalker Industries head, could have got some water from them. So if you're not feeling that way when you see people drinking water outside, then you should. And all of our investors should. So if you know somebody who's having an event outside, please let them know. We're going to have supplies up until about June 3rd. We just need to make some warehouse space for some of our products that we have coming in. And we also want to obviously be helpful to the Atlanta community as people get out and participate in events this summer. But I do think they canceled one fireworks show here in Atlanta, which is surprising to me, because Atlanta's been super wide open for almost a year, it feels like. So I'm like, you want to cancel the outdoor fireworks? You got to look in the sky? Well, that doesn't make any sense, but who knows? I'm not brave enough to run for political office, so I shouldn't say anything. But anyway, yes. So Integrity is there. In terms of recycling, so I've touched on it a little bit now. Is that I've actually been able to tap into something with this idea of having paid recycling returns. I know it's not going to really be implemented until we get into the plant, but when we've been hosting events, and we have a DJ Envy event. Oh, that's another event for Positivity. DJ Envy is having a car show here at the Georgia World Congress Center on July 3rd, Saturday, July 3rd. Positivity will be there handing out bottles of Positivity. And then we'll also be going to offer $1 for every bottle return. So I've done this with some 5th grade kids, and now I'm doing it again with Envy's event is that Georgia World Congress Center actually told Envy and her crew and his crew that they could not give out any water inside the Congress Center. And they're like, what's the problem? It's like, we don't want all the plastic around. It just fills up our trash cans. It makes things terrible. So when they told them that we were going to pay $1 to get the bottle back, they raised their eyebrows, was like, oh, no problem then. So that shows you that people do care. I mean, you think like, why wouldn't you want water? And they're more concerned with the plastic than they are with hydrating people. So we're going to be there handing out water and offering $1 for return. Again, this is a loss leader, but it's going to open up a lot of influences, especially by the time they return to New York and people visiting from New York, they'll be able to have the water. And anytime we get more people to talk and engage with positivity, the better chance we got in forcing their retailers to start to get it. Also, too, if you see people walking around with the Sencha, I'm not saying you should say something to them. That's up to you. But you did invest in StarWalker. you do have another brand that's equally as good that supports our system. So maybe you might want to nudge them, offer them an extra bottle. I have nothing against Essentia. I'm just saying they have a good lock on our target market. What else? We have talked about City Cares, talked about the merchandising. Also, too, we have our merchandise that's available for all of our investors out there. You can go on to shop or Positivity Water and take you to our shop, and you can buy hats and shirts, things like that. So that's been fun. And tag us, and then we have a special surprise for you if you end up doing that. But of course, it's your company, it's my company, it's our company. We got to start thinking like that in order to be effective. I'm obviously going to think about it more than most of you, but at the same time, we're all in this together. And I'm enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying the process, meeting some great people. I can tell you about some fairy tale things that's happening. One fairy tale thing is China. I had a relationship with a China distributor who first they wanted to ship Positivity in a container, an 8,000 gallon container, ship it to China and then bottle it over there. And I'm like, well, I don't really know how that's going to work. Then they thought about actually having a bottler in China get the formula and make the Positivity over in China. That seemed more realistic, but then they didn't like that because they said the Chinese people want the U.S. water. They want water from the U.S. And he said they pay big money. They pay big money. I was like, they don't pay big money for water in the U.S. You talking about? But they want it. So they said that they spend a lot of money on foreign wine. They spend a lot of foreign, but they feel like the trend is for sending water over to China. Who knew? I mean, this is outrageous goal in life, but if we can ship it, I told them if we can get into a container, it's over there. So I'm going to work on that. Also, too, we talked to Canada. Canada distributors are very much interested. Again, these are all big time fairy tale relationships, and they take a long time to develop. So please, next month, don't ask me what's happening with Canada or in China. It's going to take a year. Whatever I said, City Trends took a month, it's going to take foreign, takes a year. So ask me next year what happened with China and Canada. But Canada is looking to open up a bottle watering center, maybe do some bottling in Canada with the different designs and different labels. That actually looks a little bit more promising because Canada's our neighbors to the north, but Canada's on a serious lockdown. They can't have more than 20 people together. I had 20 people at my airport gate last week. So I was like, I don't know, they're behind us in the US. They're a little jealous of us now. But they weren't jealous of us last summer. They're jealous of us this summer because they can't get out. So it's hard timing with Canada to see sort of when that might happen. So that might take some time. Other pie in the sky things, City of Flint, if you've been following the news, City of Flint is looking to build a plant in Flint. I got some conversations with some of the people that I've always been in contact with Flint, but there could be a possibility that we could sort of strategize with Flint on their plant, if not actually build it for them. Again, pie in the sky, keep you up to date. I did take a trip to a local spring water plant here, King Spring Waters. King, Keen. They actually have a private label brand that they grew, but the owner decided he wanted to buy a plant. So he bought a plant up in Chatworth, Tennessee, Chatworth, Georgia, and that produces the spring water. And it's an interesting story. He's a former NFL player, and he had an opportunity with the right people, and he got a spring plant. And I went up there and visited him with our engineers to kind of see what we could do to make it more efficient. But it's just good to have a meeting of people who are like-minded and trying to figure it out together. So they're a great strategic partner. King Spring Waters, if you see them on Instagram, like them, follow him. The owner's pretty funny. He's a hustler. He gets his brand out there. He does all the things he has to do, and I enjoy talking with Ali. He's a good guy. So, and you might notice that I am a big supporter of everybody in the bottled water industry, because it is not easy, and there's enough water for everybody to drink. There's no reason there needs to be one bottled water source. Even our plant can only, make quench the thirst of a third of Atlanta. So, it's not something that, oh my God, it's competitive. We're all in this together. We're all trying to work on it together. All right, Shar. So that's the first 30 minutes of introduction. I figure the next 30 minutes will be our chance for our people here on live or on Zoom to sort of chime in, comment, ask questions, things of that nature. What we got so far?
Well, just wanted to remind you about the Dallas Athletic Racing. Do you want to mention that one quickly?
Oh yeah, so the Dallas Athletic Racing. I think I talked about that. We're going to sponsor them at the finish line. They have a series of races in throughout the months. I think between now and October. I think one of the biggest races is in October, but we're going to sponsor them and have some people at the finish line, and also have some local retailers participate in that as well. So the Dallas market, that'll open up soon for us.
Okay, excellent. Great job, David. So Stephen Jones, thank you for jumping on the call and giving us some really great questions. He wants to know if we can get an overall update on how the fundraising is going. And I know you basically did that, but just as a follow-up to his question, did you have any other specific questions, Stephen, that you wanted to ask? And
if I can get myself off of mute here. No, I think Dave touched on it in the beginning. Thank you, Dave, for that update. That was, you got a lot of great stuff sort of in the pipeline and in the works. So yeah, I think you touched on as far as and I think my second question that's in there around affiliate programs, and you touched on like social media and now starting to branch off into that space, and not just focusing on B2B, but organically trying to grow through that platform. So in terms of affiliate programs, has StarWalker thought about connecting with like people who have these vast networks like the DJ NVs of the world, and just saying, hey, if you can partner with me, you'll get a small piece of the pie for helping to push this through your network?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, first of all, you're in Dubai right now. Is that where you at? That's why it's like
Well,
night.
I'm pretending I'm in Dubai right now. I have goals. I got goals.
Looks good though. Looks good. Looks good. Have a drink on me. No, the good question. Yeah, so we've been tinkering with this affiliate program, and there's a way in which you can do co-branded sites where you can have a brand and positivity, and together that site can be offered to that person and or company, and then you could actually track the volume and the purchases through the site, and you can promote the site. So it'd be like stephenjones.positivitywater.com, and you can go to that site, and then everybody who purchases through that site, and it would be co-branded, right, with whoever celebrity or influencer or whatever. So we've been tinkering with that. There's a lot of logistics behind it in terms of, are we shipping it? Are you going to be the one that collects the water and people will have a drop off point? So there's some logistics behind that in terms of our partnership. Some of them want, hey, I can do it, but can you ship out the water? Or I can do it, but can you, have them come to a certain location to pick it up? So yes, I think we're looking at all that, because I think one-on-one, it doesn't really add up to a lot, but you get 400 or 500. It does, but if you have to manage 400 or 500 without an efficient system, that's going to break everything. So I think the idea is we're trying to really get a nice, efficient system and have a rollout. But yeah, I think you will see some affiliate rollout that will be automated, meaning that you'll be able to go in and create your own sort of affiliate system. That's really where I need to get to, where people can just do it on their own without necessarily having a lot of customer service or customization for their particular site. But, I think we're probably far from there. I think if we had something up by the end of summer, you might see some of our affiliate programs, they'll kick out earlier with like City Trends. You might see them kick out earlier with DJ Envy in our new asset that's coming along. Still top secret, but it's coming. So you might see us try pieces of that and then try to really move that down to a more, functional level for a lot of people.
Cool.
But
Thank
the
you.
fundraise, to answer your first question, the fundraise is going great. I mean, I think that the stats are 30% in the first 2 weeks, and then the middle is 40%, and then when you start to put a deadline of closing it, that's when you get the last 30%. So I have been told by WeFunder and multiple people that once you say, okay, Dave's closing StarWalker by the end of July or the end of August, that's when people will start to go, oh, I really need to finish this then, because once I close it off, we're off and running. And I don't know if I'll come back to another crowdfunding platform. I'll probably go back to the traditional VC firms if that's the play, and to raise the rest of the money for the trip. But the momentum we've gotten already has already been valuable going forward. I mean, to show that at $25 million valuation, we've already raised $240,000 sets a huge precedent, and it gives me a lot of leverage not to have to haggle over my valuation when it comes to other investors going forward. And I think that's a starting point. And that's really what it takes for us minorities to establish our valuation. Because if you don't, they'll tell you, no, I'm not, your valuation's 2 million, 4 million, 3 million. You're like, what are you talking about? But if you can say, look, I got 600 people that say this is it, they usually go, okay, let's start from there. So I think that there's a lot of options still left. I'm enjoying this process. I'm enjoying the people who are staring, waiting for me to finish doing it on this forum so they can get in separately. And I think we'll move at a pace where we feel comfortable. If we start flatlining, or like I said, we got 2 or 3 big things still coming. And after we look at the end of the summer and September, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that we'll probably shut down the fundraising sometime at the end of the summer. I think we'll probably ride it out through August at least.
Cool. Appreciate you.
Okay, good question. Enjoy Dubai. Shar, is there another question?
I think most of the questions really was coming from Stephen. I know that Stephen said that he received his perk okay. And then Rontonio, I let him know, Rontonio Porter, that he did not receive his perk. I kind of went ahead and did a little bit of background research. And so we can kind of reach out to him on a one-on-one basis. But at this point, I don't think that there are any other questions from anyone that you have not already addressed. And I know that as you were talking about the affiliate program, I thought about the fact that we're kind of working on setting up some online affiliate interface for some of these larger events, so we can go ahead and do some pre-sales and then have people pick them up at the event. We're just trying to work through all of those logistics at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces now in StarWalker. It's just not, this at the high level, there's still good conversations happening about the plant. I mean, let's really think about why we're into this, right? Besides my Super Bowl trophy, we're really into this to try to get to the level of being able to produce for yourself. And to produce for yourself, you're going to have a plant. You're going to have money to finance the plant. And then you're going to have money to finance the equipment. But once you get all that, you have the channels to sell the water. So what we're doing right now is really greasing our channel sales, right? Really understanding the best way to put advertising out in the local community for water, the best way to engage people in a local community. And like I said, each city that we go in, we have this sort of local engagement. So the things and the feedback we're getting, the data collection, as my ads people like to say, it's really about data, Dave. That the data we're getting on how people buy water, and particularly people in our community, how their perceptions of it. And it's still a lot of education. It's still a lot of understanding of what is purified, what is spring water, what is alkaline water, what are the benefits or detriments to all these waters. And, as people understand that, and then they start to understand PET. Is it BPA free? People ask me that. All PET is BPA free. BPA is like a old plastic from way back in the day, like your grandmother's plastic. This is all PET1 is BPA free. So don't let anybody like BPA free. Okay. It's like, no lead in this paint. Like, of course there's no lead in the paint anymore. That's old. So, just again, getting people up to date on the things that they've heard and trying to really close a lot of doors with myths is really what I'm finding as I start to talk to people about how bottled water and what makes it so invaluable, right? Why you give me $1 for this bottle and everybody else just throws it away? And to go through the process of clean, recycled, and recycled PET, and how we can turn that bottle into this post-consumer resin, and then be able to make a preform again. And then they're like, oh wow, that just makes sense to me. And how many times have we all sat at home seeing something on TV that looks so simple and be like, man, how come I did not think of that? Well, that's StarWalker Industries. It's not that hard. You make water locally, you sell it locally, you tell them to bring back the bottles. The recycled PET, I've talked to the engineers. I said, okay, let's talk about what we would do with this recycled PET, because clearly we can't turn it into post-consumer resin. A lot of this is done over in China, right? This post-consumer resin. So we can't do that at our facility. But they mentioned about the market for that, the recycled PET market. When you show people, hey, I have all this PET together, like it's good money, and it can subsidize your recycling programs because no one else is doing it. No one else is collecting this. You know where to get most of this stuff from? From the current plants, because the plants run their preforms or whatever, and it doesn't run right. You got to toss out all of that. So they're not getting it from consumers. People aren't splitting. California, man, let me tell you, California is no joke when it comes to recycling. I think Palo Alto probably had this much trash in 3 weeks. They make you separate everything. They got 5 or 6 storage bins from, metal to, paper to everything. And it's perfect because the people there must love their recycling programs because it's all separated. And all of the people have been trained to do it. So when you go to throw away your trash, there's a slot for everything. And I watched as people went through and put things through their slot and they moved on with their day. They didn't think about it. And I thought, man, they got these people really trained about being conscious on how they process their stuff. And then you come back and everybody's throwing away bottles and things and glasses into the bag. And it's just like, Georgia does not care. They just throw it all away. Just throw it all away. So it's a lot of education that needs to be done. And I think that, I'm gonna do my best to do my part on the bottled water side.
Hey, David, Stephen also wanted to know about marketing videos, and were we planning on doing any marketing videos? Would you be interested in sharing the closed loop recycling teaser video?
Yes, so we do have a series of videos. I don't know if I have access to it right now, Shar, but we can show the entrepreneurship one maybe. But we have a series of small videos that talk just generally about some of these concepts for StarWalker, not for positivity, for StarWalker. But it shows some of the concepts behind what we're trying to do with StarWalker. And again, it's about where you put these marketing videos, right? If you can release them into YouTube, into your own social channels, but they're not gonna get a lot of views, right? Even Envy, I think, ended up getting with like 6,000-7,000 views, and he has like 2 million followers, right? So you're not gonna get a lot of views. The key with marketing nowadays is you got to put money behind it. You got to put ads behind it. And so what we're doing right now is we're spending money on our ad campaign for positivity in order to figure out who our target audience is and what makes them tick. And you got to spend money just to get data. Once you get data, then you really drive hard the information. Okay, this is what people look for when they buy alkaline water. They look for this, this, this. Once you get that, then you can start to push content towards it like crazy. It's hard to do them both at the same time unless you got a huge budget. And we don't have a huge budget. We have a StarWalker, Dave Walker budget. So we just trying to collect data and see, okay, once we get this data, what do we use all this? We have so much content to distribute, but you got to do it in a smart way when it comes to spending money in that arena. And I'm not an advertising expert or marketing expert. According to the plan that we are executing, these are the things that are being said to me.
As a follow-up to that real quick, and thank you for that. The other marketing videos I was thinking about has the idea of StarWalker engaging some of its investors to create videos of the investors that they can put out to their networks because in this world, everything is personable. Like I know that person, I trust that person. So then I can, let me listen in because now I know that person. So
yes, so that's a good thing. All right, I'm going to give you a little bit more because you started to get into my head a little bit, Stephen. So one of the newest asset we are bringing along, the first campaign they're launching is to request for people to send in videos about something to that effect. So they will be launching a national campaign to get people to talk about the topic that we all care about here, and then collect that information and then put together some things. But yes, the interaction and getting people to get on Zooms, to getting people to, press even like, forget save, forget all of the other comments. I mean, the information flow right now in terms of the scroll, and talk about the scroll, getting people to stop the scroll. You don't have 30 seconds. You got like 2.5 seconds before they keep going with the scroll. It's like, you better be quick. They don't want to hear, hello, my name is whoop, scroll. Like, no, you got to hit them with, some muscles or some t-shirts or whatever you got to have. You got to hit them with something visual real quick so they can stop their scroll. So, this is all very hard to do when you're talking about water. However, it's a drip campaign. It's water is something that you're not going to get people just drop what they're doing and go buy water. But and they're out and about, and if they have a selection, and if they can trigger something inside them and thinking like positivity when they see it, like, you know what, I do need to feel positive, and grabbing it off the shelf, those are the kind of things that work over time. So these drip campaigns come in the form of emails. So you guys might have been noticing all the emails you're getting. Text. I haven't gotten to text messages yet because I kind of personally think text messaging is a little bit too encroaching, but apparently in this love and war age, everything's fair. So text messaging, things like that. So there's a way to keep your brand front of mind. I mean, there's a huge company right here in Atlanta that puts out the blueprint on how to do it. They got a huge budget in terms of Coke, but at the same time, there's ways to do it from our end. And it definitely 100% starts with not taking this burden on ourselves, putting it on our 600 investors, asking them to send people to events like this, asking them to do other things like that for their own benefit. That's the key to equity crowdfunding. People, I think, still watch from afar, like a show. Like, let me go in and watch the show of StarWalker. If you've put in over $100, you need to get up on the stage because it's not a show, it's ours. You can get from behind the camera, get from behind the screen, come step up on stage. To Stephen's point, have an open dialogue like this. Let's just talk about it, and people throw in ideas. And that's another thing, investors, ideas. We can never have enough ideas. You'd be amazed about like how things happen in this business from just ideas. So I think, Stephen, you do a good job of saying, hey, have you thought about this? Have you considered these options? So we're looking at everything, and everything's on the table.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thank you for being part of our journey. It's fun trip. Still want to go to Dubai though.
Let me know. We'll do it.
That's awesome.
Hey, David, do you want me
Yes.
to go ahead and run the entrepreneur video?
Yeah, you run a little short clip. We took a clip of some of our short film, and the filmmaker put some clips together for us to use going forward in some marketing. So yeah, Sharp, you want to go ahead and run that film? That's great.
You're not an entrepreneur.
Can you hear my sound?
I can hear your sound.
Okay, I stopped it because I wanted to make sure the sound was playing. Let me start it.
Okay.
You're not an entrepreneur until you've paid everybody around you and been happy about it, even if you got no money, as long as everybody else is happy. That's the thing that I've always liked about entrepreneurship, and it's always been a part of me growing up. At 9 years old, my aunt and uncle lived nearby us, and they would just have people over and do hair, and it's like, don't you have to go to work? Like, this is our work. This is what we do. This is how you're supposed to live life. And it inspires my kids, who one day I say, hey, I'm going to start a business called StarWalker, and 2 years later, they're collecting water to send to Flint. That's real impact.
Great. This is where you all clap. Yeah, clap, staff. Come on. So anyway, we have a series of those sort of little snippets that we're going to put out, just getting into StarWalker entrepreneurship, recycling, people who can't, have an attention span to watch the whole 3-minute video on YouTube or in our lead page at WeFunder. So we're going to do as much as we can to continue this conversation throughout the summer. In bottled water, the summer is the peak of people's attention. I mean, it's high. People want water. They're hot. They're sweating. They want something to drink. They start to think about the water. In the winter is the depths of bottled water. You literally are trying to sell ice to an Eskimo in the winter. So at this summer, we got to keep this conversation going, this discussion going while you have people attention, while people are outside and they're starting to get out and get thirsty. We're going to spend a lot of time doing these things in the summer. And then in the winter in our business, you do your backdoor selling. That's when you hit these distributors and go to your trade shows and ask about their purchasing and their water programs for the summer coming up in the spring. So from October through December is really kind of your bottled water quiet period in terms of production, but in terms of like making deals for the following spring and making deals for the following summer, that's when that happens. So this summer we will be active out there, marketing, talking, and donating cases, selling cases, doing every can to kind of keep our momentum going this summer. But in any case, we got 10 minutes left. Any other questions that came through, Shar, on any other channel that you might want to bring up? Questions? Any other people on the call that have a comment? You want to talk about your experience? You want to talk about how this makes you feel? You want to talk about what it meant to talk to somebody else who also invested, or tell somebody else about your investment? This would be a good time to do it. You don't have to put your camera on. You can talk with the camera off if you don't want to be busy doing something. We just want to hear some comments and feedbacks if you have some.
So on social media, Rod Payne said, can you send some to Florida? Rod Payne,
yeah, you tell Rod Payne this.
I think he can hear you live on social media.
But Rod Payne, you hear this. Look, Rod, I got you, man. Listen, we're going to talk. Rod is down in Miami section, and I actually have 3 or 4 influencers, not including Rod, who are working down there to get it into retail stores. But as I mentioned before, the Rod Paynes of the world are great unless they talk to somebody. But if those person they talk to can't walk into a store and find it, is the likelihood they're going to go home and log online and buy and have the water shipped is extremely low. The likelihood they're going to email me talking about, can I get a free case because I know Rod, is pretty high. So what we got to do is get the water down there, get it into distribution markets and get it into retail markets, and then push it at the same time. So, but Rod, I got the water. I got it for you, no problem. Is there anything else?
No, I think Carmela said hi, Dave.
Oh, hey, Mom. She's hiding behind her government name, but I know who you are.
She's on social media. She didn't get on Zoom today.
Okay. She must be busy. All right.
And so, David, let me just ask you this, as just an employee and an investor, just what is something that we can all do on a day-to-day basis to help spread the word and help open the door for positivity to get more shelf space in the retail space?
Yeah, I think number one is to having a conscious thought, is to take 1 minute out of the day to have a conscious thought about what StarWalker is doing and what positivity is doing, and having a conscious thought is a lot to ask of people in this information age. The second thing is talk to your retailers where you're actually buying your water from, even if it's at the front desk clerk or is at the office manager. When you're buying water, you should be asking that person, I got a water I like called positivity, or I got a water I like called integrity, or whatever, and asking that person, how come you don't have that? And if you have some in your car, you have the bottle in your car, leave it with them. Hey, I'm gonna leave you with this. You should call. I know you can at least, reach out to them on the bottle and figure out how to get it. So, that's the best way. It's really just a lot of small people asking over and over again until people say, yeah, I want it. And then, tagging and Instagram, that kind of stuff, that always helps, obviously. It hasn't necessarily been something that is a direct result of that somebody's going to buy water because you tag it. But all those subliminal consciousness, all those times you're working out, anytime you're feeling super duper positive, that's a perfect time to post about positivity. So you're feeling good, something just happened, you hit the lottery, whatever, put that positivity water up, like, oh yeah, I'm feeling positive today. But having consciousness, remembering us, joining these calls, looking out for our investor updates, buying merchandise, just having a conscious thought to challenge the essential water drinkers that you have a better water. I challenge you to a water taste off and being able to get it in front of other people. That's really all it is. It's a slow campaign. Nothing's going to happen overnight. Things don't necessarily change overnight. So, and I respect that, understand it. I've been in this game for 7 years. Nothing has changed overnight in 7 years. It's a long process. And I'm just here to train people on how to think like that, not just with StarWalker, but with outrageous goal you have in life is don't give up. I'm never going to give up. I'm always going to keep fighting towards it. There's going to be more stickers back here for your outrageous goals. And I tell all these people with all these stickers, like, this is just the beginning, that you actually wrote it down or actually thought it into existence. Everything that's happened always starts with a thought. So if you guys keep us front of mind, pray for us, and tell people how much you're enjoying the process of being an investor as well as a drinker. That goes a long way. Ascension sucks. You said that, not me. That's awesome.
So I'm wondering, does anyone have an outrageous goal today that they would like to share with us? And we can write it and put it up on the wall, and maybe we'll pull it down the next time we have our next investor meeting. Dave, do you want to grab one? The orange one over to your right, next to the blue above the pink. Yep, that one. Okay. And I don't know what that says.
It says, make enough financial gains for my future generations. Okay. There you go.
Anybody wanna, we've got another 5 minutes.
That person's good. I don't know who wrote that, but they're gonna have financial gains for their future generations. I just know it. I don't know how, but it will. A bunch of random people just gave consciousness to that note, and somewhere, some way, they moved one step closer to that outrageous goal. I don't know how. It just works that way.
Okay, and maybe Ashley or somebody can write this up and put it on the wall. And you don't have to put a name to it, but Stephen says that his outrageous goal is to retire from corporate America in 3 years. Oh, David Stephen respects that.
So yeah, what does that look like? So you're retired. Now, what does that look like for you? Where are you? You in Dubai when you retire?
I'm all over. I'm everywhere.
I spent a lot of time visualizing my post outrageous goal celebration. I visualize, what the limo ride is going to look like when I'm carrying a Super Bowl trophy. I visualize, what my bathroom sink and wiping off the counter where I can put my trophy down before I get in the shower to get the champagne off of it. I mean, I actually think like that level past my outrageous goal, and it's fun and it doesn't hurt anybody. And the people might think it's outrageous, but if I die tomorrow, I'll die trying to win a Super Bowl trophy. So that's all it is about outrageous goals. Have something inside you and your heart that you want to go after. It doesn't matter whether people believe it or not. All that matters is you believe it, and that's how everything changes. And whether it's that or changing recycling and getting everybody to, have 100% bottled water recycling rate, all of that stuff is part of thinking outrageous. So, Stephen, you're on your way. I don't think it's outrageous enough, in my opinion, but I respect everybody's goal. So I'm wishing you the best outrageous goal.
All right, I'll condense that to a year then.
Well, I guess then Stephen is going to be like one of our StarWalker ambassadors and positivity ambassadors. So as we blow up, then he can go ahead and scale that thing down from a year to even 6 months.
Oh, Dave knows I got his back. Whatever he does, I'm there. He knows it.
That's Excellent. Right. Excellent. Let's make it tomorrow. You know what, Stephen, let's take it so long.
Matter of fact, I'm designing my resignation right now. Let me just, I quit.
Somebody on here is listening. Well, look, I think we're almost out of time. I think that, I've given it enough time for people to chime in and listen and to kind of tell their stories and ask their questions. This has always been fun. I don't know when the next one is, but we have to set it right away. It's probably going to be, July is a very busy month for us in terms of all of our events, etc. I don't want to put a lot of time behind creating an agenda and things like that. So let's just reasonably say first week of August. My kids will be back in school. Not that that matters to anybody on here, but I think that from my perspective, it'll be good. And of course, I have the right to change my mind and do something sooner if bigger news comes out. But I think right now, if you can tentatively think of the next sort of update in August, traditionally, public companies do it once a quarter. So, I mean, we're a smaller company. I don't want to lose people over 3 or 4 months. So I kind of want to go more sooner than that. So I think the first week of August will be a good date for us to reconvene, ask more questions, and just see if we got 1% better. And if we keep getting 1% better every month and a half or so, who knows where we'll be in 2 or 3 years. So that's what we're going to work on. Oh, last one. I have a poll. Are you seeing this poll?
Yes.
If you can go through and we're testing this. This was a poll that we got put on today, 5 minutes before we came in. because we wanted more feedback and more interaction with investors. So we did a poll in which we started to say, look, let's just ask some general questions of people, see exactly, what they thought about the company, just 4 questions, and then we can see if we can incorporate polling into our future meetings. So we'll let that poll run here for a second. Can everybody see it? Yes, shake your head. Yes, you see the poll?
Yeah, I can't fill it out, but Ashley and Dwayne, I think you guys should be able to fill it out, and Ryan.
Yes. So it says, I'm going to tell you what it says. It says attendees are now viewing questions. 5 of 10 voted. And they're telling me the 5 who didn't vote are, I'm just kidding. 6 of 10 voted, right? Somebody on here is not 7 of 10. Okay, that's good enough. That's good enough. So 7 out of 10 is good. So I'm going to end the polling. So I'm going to share the results. So this is interesting. All right. So can you see this, the results?
Yes.
All right. Are you having a fantastic day? 6 out of 7 people said yes. Somebody said not yet. Okay. Is this your first time on the StarWalker Investor Zoom call? 5.
2 people.
Yeah. 2
said
people
yes.
is yes. The rest of them have been on here before. Are you an investor? 4 out of 7 are investors. Okay, that's great. So the last question is, what interests you most? Some people said, one person said bottling. Most people said because it's Black owned and investment opportunity. All right, so there you go. That's what 7 out of 10 people think on this call. I like that. I like that little poll. We may should have done it sooner, maybe like the quarter 2 mark. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's the end of the call. I hope everybody enjoyed today and everything they had to offer. Have a fantastic week, fantastic weekend. Be safe for 4th of July. And remember, always think positive, drink positivity. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you next time. Have a great day. Have a positive day. Bye-bye.